Hello everybody, in today's video we're going to be making chicken and dumplings. This is a very easy recipe, guys. Also, this is one of my subscribers' requests, so we're going to do just that. I'm so glad you sent the request in because it's been a long time since I've had some really good chicken and dumplings, and guess what, these were super delicious. Alright, so we're going to start here. I'm going to add a little olive oil. The reason why I'm using this shallow pan is because I'm not making a whole lot. I'm using some chicken thighs that I just washed, dried, seasoned, and cut them up. You can use whole chicken, and if you don't want to saute your chicken, you can boil it, but I'm just going to kind of brown this a little bit. I'm not going to cook it done because it's going to go into the chicken and dumpling mixture. So I am cooking this on medium heat. I'm going to let that get a little brown on it, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to add my vegetables. I hope you guys are doing great out there. I'm just adding some diced onions, celery, and carrots. So I'm going to let this cook for a couple of minutes. I got 4 tablespoons of butter. After that melts down, I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons of flour. And that's going to give me a little more thickening. Or you can say roux, but my mama, they always called it thickening. Or thicken. I think it was something like that. So I'm going to let that cook to get that flour taste out. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to add is 2 cups of chicken broth. I used some chicken bouillon, better than bouillon, but if you want to just use plain chicken broth or vegetable broth, that's fine. Or either if you are boiling your chicken with your onions and your seasonings, that can be your chicken broth. So right here, I'm going to add 1 small can of cream of celery. I wanted to add the cream of chicken with the herbs, but I didn't have it. So I'm using what I do have, and the celery still has good flavor and a good taste too. But the cream of chicken with herbs is really good. If you can't get that, just get the cream of chicken. I'm going to add 1 bay leaf to this. Just 1. That helps the flavor. I like to use that in my soups and stews. And hopefully, guys, since it's getting cold, I'll be doing more one-pot meals. Also, I did add 1 can of water after I dumped that cream of celery in. So I'm just going to give it a little light seasoning. You really don't have to add too much because the chicken is seasoned. The chicken broth has a little seasoning on it, and that cream of chicken has seasoning, so that's why I went light on the seasonings. The main thing I'm adding to this is herbs like the black pepper and the bay leaf, the celery, and the onions. But make sure you season this to taste. And you just turn it down on low and you let it simmer. And as you can see, now we have a nice broth. And the chicken is continuing to cook. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go and we're going to make these dumplings, guys. Also, guys, I want to apologize for my tripod stand. I didn't see it until after I started editing the video. Sorry, guys. Alright, guys, so this is a easy dumpling recipe, guys. Very easy. 1 cup of flour. I'm using all-purpose. So I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of baking powder, little bit of salt. If you're using self-rising flour, you don't have to add any baking powder or salt. I'm going to use 1/2 cup of buttermilk, and I'm going to add a little parsley for taste and color. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to add is you can shred about 3 tablespoons of butter, but I'm just going to cut it in real small slices into my flour. I wanted to put it in the center if you make a little well, and then I'm going to kind of break it up. I started to do it with the fork, but I'm going to break it up with my hands, and we're going to stir that buttermilk in. Guys, I got to tell you a little story. The first time I made chicken and dumplings homemade, I was working at this restaurant. I think I was like maybe about 31, 32. And they requested for chicken and dumplings on the menu. I didn't know how to make chicken and dumplings, but I knew how to make chicken and rice. So I boiled my chicken with some onions and I seasoned it, a lot of black pepper, and I knew how to make biscuits. So I made a nice dough, and we rolled it, cut those dumplings out. The people really enjoyed it. And guess what? I had to make chicken and dumplings every week on the menu, guys. That is a true story. Very true story. And the people there, they were really nice folks. So that's how I learned how to make chicken and dumplings, guys. But these came out really, really good. So right here, I'm going to add that 1/2 cup of buttermilk. And I'm just going to stir it in until it gets to the right consistency. You don't have to add the parsley, but I just added it a little more color, and a little more taste. You can roll these, but I thought I would do something a little different and just dump them in there. And it worked, guys. They were really good. So I'm going to add the rest of this buttermilk, and I'm going to stir all that in, and then we're going to come back and dump these in the pot with the chicken. Alright, so now we are going to put our dumplings in, and we are going to let them simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes, maybe about 15 minutes. And they will just cook right up in this broth. So I did taste these, and they needed a little more black pepper. So guys, I'm just scooping these out with the spoon and this little tablespoon measuring spoon, I'm sorry. You can make them the size you like. I didn't want them really big because I know they cook up quicker when they're not too big. And this made a good amount of dumplings. Had a great flavor. Alright, so after I added enough dumplings, I did have some of the dough left over. But this 1 cup of flour for that dumpling mix came out really good, guys. So I'm going to let them come to a boil. Then turn them down. And guys, guess what? They're going to be finished. And to my subscriber that requested this recipe, I hope you get to really try this and enjoy it because it's really tasty. Alright, so they have been simmering for a while. I did turn them back down. And as you can see, the dumplings are done. And guys, they were so good. I shared them with my neighbor. These were so good, guys. So if you like chicken and dumplings, give this recipe a try because it's really good, guys. And thanks again to my subscriber that requested it. So be blessed, and I'll see you in the next video.